Well, good evening, everyone. It is deadline day, and we want to know who will be over the moon about their new club when we get to 11 o'clock tonight. And that was a moon, not to be confused with the boss's bald head. Good evening, everybody. Less than 4 hours to go here in England. It is a midnight deadline, of course, in Scotland. But how much late movement is there going to be, Hayley? That's the question we ask. We will tell you about the player making his way to London right now on a train, and he has 2 Premier League clubs after him.
Oh, well, the window closing. Well, that's coincided with a very busy night of Premier League action. 14 teams involved tonight. And the team news could take extra significance, couldn't it? As we see who plays and perhaps more importantly, who doesn't.
Well, that's right. Just how distracting is it having to play a match on a night like this? We'll be asking our guests. They played, well, one day they did. Phil Thompson and Andy Hinchcliffe are with us this evening. And we shall also be able to speak to the managers and players before kick-off. A soccer special follows us at 7:30. And just a reminder that you will be able to see the goal moments, the significant moments in the games via our Score Centre app. So you will not miss a thing with us on Sky Sports News tonight.
First, let's get to Tottenham. Confirmation. Lucas Moura has completed his move from Paris Saint-Germain. Paul Gilmore is at Wembley with all the very latest for us. Hi there, Paul.
Hi, Hayley. Good evening. I'm sure we will do big things together. The first words of Lucas Moura as a Tottenham player. He has been confirmed on that contract until 2023 from PSG. We can hear a bit more of what he has said. He says it's a new chapter in his life, a big challenge ahead. He's also highlighted the new stadium as one of the exciting factors in joining Tottenham. He will wear the squad number 27. He obviously can't play tonight against Manchester United, a team that previously tried to get him when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge. He didn't sign soon enough. Indeed, it was only announced at 6:30 there. But Lucas Moura is a Tottenham player, and Tottenham make their first January deadline day signing since Dele Alli in 2015.
Yeah. Paul, thank you very much indeed. Across London, Gail Davis has had a very busy day because she's been covering everything that's been happening at Arsenal. Tell us everything that's been happening if we've got time, Gail.
I'll try and be quick. It has been a really busy day here, and finally Arsenal have got their man after weeks of speculation and negotiation. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was confirmed at 11 o'clock today. He signed a long-term deal, thought to be worth about £60 million. That breaks the club transfer record here. And one of the reasons is because of the history of the club, he says, and he would hope that one day he would emulate Thierry Henry. Fitting then that he wears the number 14 shirt. This is what he had to say to Arsenal TV a little bit earlier.
Yeah, finally, I'm really happy to be here, and of course, I can join Mickey in this team. So I'm really happy to be here in this great team.
What is it about Arsenal that you like so much that appeal to you?
I think the club have such a big history, and they had the great players like Thierry Henry. So it's an example for us strikers. So yeah, I'm really happy. That's what I said before.
Mickey, of course, is Henrik Mkhitaryan, Arsenal's other big signing here during the window. Those two played together at Borussia Dortmund, so they're looking forward to renewing their friendships now. When the news came through about Aubameyang's signing, there was a tour going on around the stadium and there was a huge cheer. Well, I think news about Mesut Ozil may well have got a similar sounding noise from Arsenal fans, because there have been so much talk, hasn't there, about the fact his contract is up at the end of the season. But we understand he's set to sign a new contract. It's not quite done and dusted, but he is set to sign it over the next few days. And when you speak to some Arsenal fans, they're as delighted at re-signing him as they are to get somebody new in. So as far as they're concerned, it's been a pretty good deadline day here at Arsenal.
Kaveh Solokol has a big role tonight because you are traffic and travel, aren't you? Following who's going where, on what modes of transport, and who's coming to London, and where's he going?
OK, yeah, we told you about Ibrahim Amadou, that he was on the train from Lille to London. I've just been told that he has just arrived now. He's on the 7:05 from Lille, which has just arrived at St Pancras. Now, The plan at the moment is for him to be picked up from St Pancras and be taken to Crystal Palace. That is what we're being told. Luckily, we've got a camera at Crystal Palace's training ground. We've got camera at Crystal Palace's offices in central London. So now the pressure is on West Ham. If they want to sign him instead of Crystal Palace, they've got his agent's number. They need to call him to get Amadou to go to West Ham instead of Crystal Palace. But at the moment, the plan is for him to go to Crystal Palace. But, of course, this all depends...
On London traffic. No.
One, yeah, and two, it all depends on Lille agreeing to let him leave, because Lille are insisting that they get this player back from Dijon, Checa, the Portuguese midfielder. But if everything falls into place, it could be very good news for Ibrahim Amadou tonight.
We'll be following that closely.
Let me tell you, this just into us here at Sky Sports News. This is interesting. So many twists and turns now with, 4 hours to go until the deadline. Johnny Evans is not in the West Brom matchday squad to face Manchester City. As we understand it, Arsenal, they made an unsuccessful bid for the defender earlier on today. We want to hear more on this. Let's get more on it now. Here's Alan Pardew.
Another couple of very experienced players not in the team tonight, Johnny Evans and Jake Livermore.
Yeah, Jake, both of those got hamstring injuries at Liverpool, so there's no mystery to that. You're not going to see them pop up at 10:30 tonight on the transfer front. They're tucked away at home, and we'll have to see if they're available for Saturday.
Interesting, isn't it? Phil Thompson and Andy Hinchcliffe are on set with me at this stage. I mean, this is crazy, isn't it, Phil? I mean, this is busier than anyone could have imagined.
This is what we want, isn't it?
This is what we want, Andy. We've been crying out for it. Yeah.
No, it has, and most teams have spent decent amounts of money. Yes, we were talking about Bournemouth before, but it is interesting. And I think what it says, and Newcastle is saying they're trying to push their own into spending, it's how valuable this staying in the Premier League is. I think it just tells you. And those top teams up there, how valuable it is to try and play Champions League football, certainly next year.
Let's just go through one or two. I know you want to talk about Mahrez, and you're quite right to do that, Andy. Just on Ozil, a lot of your reaction on social media to Mesut Ozil. People are amazed. It is a bumper deal, something like 300,000 a week. I mean, incredible. So Sanchez has gone. He has stayed, and a lot of Arsenal fans were worried it was about 50 or 50 as to whether or not he would sign a new deal. He has done. He's there for another 3.5 years. This is one of the big deals of this window, curiously, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be the kind of deal that is in place to stave off the giant clubs in Europe taking your player away. It's that much money. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the case. There's not been that many rumours about the top clubs in Europe wanting Ozil, maybe because of his inconsistency. Yet Arsenal still tied him down, which Arsenal don't tend to do. They don't tend to spend that much money on transfers and certainly on player wages. This is an astronomical amount of money. Is it a gamble, though, Phil, in terms of the money they spent on Ozil keeping him there? Is it a gamble?
I think they're looking at it, and Ozil and his agents are looking at it, and they're thinking they're coming from another club to Arsenal because his contract's running down. So he can literally walk away for nothing. He is going to get, maybe not a Sanchez deal, but there or thereabouts. So Arsenal, if you want me to stay, you're going to have to do a similar thing. There's not going to be any transfer fee that you have to pay. You've paid probably Mkhitaryan. He's probably seen how much he's coming for. If you're going to do the deal, you're going to have to give me a hefty package. I am quite amazed by it.
It's some deal.
As I say, 6 weeks ago, you probably wouldn't have got it.
Absolutely. 300,000 plus a week. I mean, it's an incredible deal. So he stays at Arsenal, and the new boy in town, Aubameyang, joined Arsenal earlier on this morning. We're off to Chelsea very shortly because that story is still, getting so much reaction all over the country. The story being Giroud to Chelsea. Here's Haley.
Yes, and following the developments there, we've had Gary Cottrell, who's been talking about the domino effect that has been happening, of course, across London and the comings and goings today of all that's been happening at Stamford Bridge. Bring us up to date with everything, Gary.
Yeah, a successful day for Arsenal, a successful day also for Chelsea. 2 deals struck on strikers, one going out, Michy Batshuayi across the channel to Germany on loan, one coming in, Olivier Giroud across the capital to Chelsea on an 18-month permanent deal with an option for another year. Around £20 million they paid for him. Warming up for tonight's game, of course, he won't be involved in that, but we have seen him posing in his new shirt, number 18, and we will see him here tonight paraded before his new set of London fans. It's a move that needed to happen for Michy Batshuayi to go to Borussia Dortmund, and it completes that triangle. And Olivier Giroud is obviously pleased to be here. He clearly wanted to come here. He turned down the chance to go to Dortmund, and he's been speaking about today's events.
The most important thing has been talking with the coach, Antonio Conte. I really feel like that he really want me. He really want me to work with me, and obviously Chelsea is a massive club, so it was a great opportunity for me to start a new adventure. I'm very pleased with what I achieved with Arsenal, but now I've got a new adventure with Chelsea, and I really want to carry on in Premier League and to win as much as trophy as I can, and to help the team to reach our targets. Tonight there is a game, so I will come to the stadium, and I can't wait to see you at the stadium.
Giroud there talking in blue. We've seen him posing in blue. We'll see him playing in blue probably on Monday Night Football, just coming up at Watford.
Right, as we know, teams in action, and big news comes from who isn't playing, because we've already brought you the news. Jonny Evans is not in the West Brom squad to take on Manchester City tonight. What about City? Well, their record signing is going to be making his debut. That's £57 million man, Aymeric Laporte. He is named in the starting 11 alongside Ederson, Kyle Walker, Sterling is in the starting 11, as well as Aguero, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Fernandinho, Nicolas Otamendi and Alexander Zinchenko. Well, let's hear from City's new defender now.
You signed for Manchester City, straight in the team. It must have been a very hectic week for you.
Has firmado por el Manchester City, llegas y empiezas de titular. Ha debido ser una semana bastante estresante para ti, ¿no?
Sí, la verdad que ha sido una semana larga, a pesar de la buena noticia. Estoy muy contento de estar aquí y bueno, espero hacer un gran partido y que sean muchos más.
Yeah, obviously it's been a really long week for me, but I'm very happy to be here, very happy for the great news. Looking forward to play, help the team and hopefully win tonight.
Was it a very an easy decision for you to come to England and play here for a club like this?
¿Ha sido una decisión fácil para ti venir al Manchester City, venir a jugar a la Premier League?
La verdad que todo apuntaba bien, o sea, el entrenador, el equipo, todo iba muy bien. Ya conocía al equipo desde antes y creo que es un grandísimo equipo para hacer grandes cosas.
Yeah, of course, it was an easy decision. The manager they are performing really well this season. Hopefully we can continue this way and do great things, achieve great things until the end of the season.
Have you had a chance to familiarise yourself with your new teammates? Have you trained with them yet?
¿Te has podido familiarizar con tus compañeros? ¿Has podido entrenar con ellos?
Sí, bueno, ayer entrené con ellos y la verdad que en el grupo muy bien. Nos llevamos todos muy bien y que siga.
Yeah, I had a training session with them yesterday. There's a great group. We get along really well, and hopefully we can continue in the same atmosphere.
Well, we had wondered if Mahrez would be joining Manchester City. It looks like a deal has broken down, although he's not in the matchday squad for Leicester this evening. What could that mean? Well, Ben Ranson can bring us up to date with all that's been happening with this deal. Ben.
Yeah, let's start with the Manchester City end, shall we? Because it's my information that they walked out of negotiations over a transfer for Riyad Mahrez simply because the price was too high. They weren't willing to go more than £60 million, they were telling me, and Leicester City were looking for something in the region of £95 million to take Mahrez here on deadline day. So that's why negotiations broke down. Now, of course, there's always the caveat that it is transfer deadline day and a lot of this can be posturing. Now, the fact that, as we expected, Riyad Mahrez is not in the Leicester City side at Everton tonight is no real surprise, given that he refused to train, as we understand it. He's put in this transfer request. He wants to leave Leicester City. He thought he may well get his move to Manchester City today. I mean, he may still, but it'd be very difficult. And it's a very tricky situation for Leicester City to manage now, given that they've got a clearly unhappy player who wants to leave. They've got a club in Manchester City who would like to pay what would be a substantial sum to bring him here. but at the moment we've got no deal. So we're at a stalemate, we're at impasse. Of course, Manchester City perhaps complicated slightly further in the fact they've also got a game tonight. We heard there from new signing, he is still the club record signing, Aymeric Laporte, who starts tonight. Interesting that he's in the starting lineup. So at an impasse at the moment, but as I say, it is transfer deadline day, and as you know, there is a super blue moon in the air, so perhaps we'll get some magic.
That's right, Ben. Plenty of time left for transfer deals to go through. But then again, who is that handsome chap on the banner there?
Right, at the heart of the newsroom, news just coming into us Kaveh Solokol has been across what's been happening involving Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very interesting update. It comes from one of our news editors who's been all across this Riyad Mahrez story. Every update you've got in the past couple of days has come from this one news editor, and he's been speaking to a close friend of Riyad Mahrez. And I have not read these quotes. I'm just going to read them to you for the first time. This is what a close friend of Riyad Mahrez has told one of our news editors. Riyad Mahrez is very depressed this evening over the events of the last 2 days. He doesn't understand why Leicester have behaved in the way they have. This is the 4th transfer window in which Leicester have said they will allow him to leave. He feels very strongly that he's done everything in his power for the club. He played a huge part in Leicester's promotion in his first season. He then helped them to make history in winning the Premier League title, and he's done what the chairman has asked of him, which is to stay at the King Power and secure the club's Premier League safety. They've let Kante go, Drinkwater go. He could have been the record sale in the history of the club and the record purchase for Manchester City. By my calculations, Leicester would have made £59.8 million profit on the player. He's been told by his former teammates to get out of Leicester. You have to go to war, which he's tried to avoid. He's given his all for Leicester this season so that he can leave in this window. Finally getting to the end.
Okay.
Joining Manchester City would have been a dream for him. Playing for Pep is something he is still desperate to do. This seems a long way off right now. He's very down about the way he's been treated by a club he has served so well. So, Riyad Mahrez, exclusive quotes from a friend of his, telling our news editor who's followed this story, who's brought you all the updates. He is very, very unhappy with the way he's been treated by Leicester. He wanted to go to Manchester City.
Wow, fascinating stuff, Kaveh. Thank you.
Now, Phil and Andy are still with me here in studio for the next few moments anyway, because one of them's got to go downstairs to see Jeff Stelling. That will happen in a second. Phil, just on this, some of the managers are in some ways unhappy with the scheduling here because they're juggling 2 demands, important matches tonight and transfers. They've got to cope with an awful lot. Do they have a case here?
I have a massive case. You're trying to do this. Just explaining before how important the Premier League is to everybody. So you want to get the right deals. You're not available. For today and yesterday, most of the focus will be on the team. You look how tight it is between the bottom 10 teams, 11 teams, and you're going, wow, how close all that is. So every point is they're desperate for. So yes, I have every sympathy for every manager because it is so difficult. The planning of it. See, we had the FA Cup games as well, and then you're juggling what games come after it.
In true television style, and this is great, this is what live television is all about, folks. I'm being told you have an appointment, Mr. Thompson, with Mr. Jeff Stelling, because you're on Soccer Special tonight. You're going to be watching what? Manchester City, West Brom.
Manchester City, West Brom. Am I being transferred, Jim?
You're being transferred. Now,
there's a deal to be done. Hold on a minute.
Just stop
the shop, Phil. Take your time. Take your time.
Your agent is to your right, Mr. Hinchcliffe. I mean, do you want to do a bit of negotiation?
You want him, they want him. We're going to have to do a bit of negotiating.
A million bottles of brown. OK.
Phil Thompson, you're free to go.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Great to see you.
See you, Phil.
Catch you soon.
So Phil Thompson is off to join Jeff and the boys. And of course tonight, well, there is a Soccer Special because Jeff Stelling is also joined tonight by Paul Merson, by Charlie Nicholas, and by Alan McInally. So Phil Thompson off to join Jeff and the boys.
And remember, you're not going to miss a thing here during those games tonight. We will be bringing you updates throughout Soccer Special, and Sky Sports News will return at 10 p.m. Remember, it is an 11 p.m. deadline, midnight in Scotland.
Yeah, could there be a late move for Johnny Evans? That's a question we've been asking all day and all window. He's been linked with big clubs. Kirsty Edwards can tell us the latest from West Brom's training ground, Kirsty.
Well, I can tell you that Arsenal have failed in a late attempt to buy Johnny Evans from West Brom. Conversations were had this afternoon. They didn't last long, though. The price that Arsenal were prepared to offer was well below what West Brom value their captain. It didn't even enter into official negotiations because West Brom were just not happy with the price being talked about by Arsenal. But Arsenal, of course, have been interested in Evans right through this transfer window. They made attempts maybe to sign him or inquired about him at the start of this transfer window. It all went quiet, but yes, a late attempt today. Interestingly, as you've been mentioning tonight, he's not in the squad tonight for the Manchester City game. Alan Pardew says we shouldn't read anything into that. He has got an injury. But we will keep across this. There's time yet, isn't there, for a deal to be done. If there are any developments, we'll let you know.
Thanks, Kirsty. Right, Michael Bridge joins us live from Crystal Palace. Can you tell us what's been happening there? Any big news from you, Michael?
Yes, Hayley. Well, Crystal Palace fans have been waiting a long time for a striker. They wanted Omar Niasse on August the 31st, but it's very close now. Alexander Soroth is very close to becoming a Crystal Palace player. It's nearly done. And I've spoken to Steve Parish and he said he's absolutely delighted. He's a player Roy and I have been looking at for a while and it's nearly there. So it will give Steve Parish a few more hours to find a few more players. And as my colleague Carve said, Ibrahim Amadou is a player they've been looking for as well. So Palace fans, don't go to bed.
Michael, thanks very much. Major developments I can tell you from Newcastle. Keith Downey, what's going on?
Yeah, some drama from St James's Park. Newcastle United thought they'd allowed Alexander Mitrovic to go out on loan to Anderlecht. What I can tell you is that deal is now off because Anderlecht weren't able to sell a player to fund a loan move for Mitrovic. So he's there, he's not signing, and he'll head back to Newcastle.
OK, transfer updates throughout the evening. Jeff and the boys are with you very shortly. Phil made it. Stay with us.